Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. Tonight, we're going to talk about PlayStation 5 owners prefer box games to digital games. There was an article that just recently came out from a company called Global Sales Data. They basically take a bunch of sales data from different markets and things like that and compare them. And basically, they just released some data showing that, for the last year of gaming, PlayStation owners preferred to buy their games physically rather than digitally. Now, the margin was not that big of a difference. I think what I read was like 51% of people bought physical, which is still a pretty good amount of physically bought games when you think about we've been in the midst of a pandemic for the last year. So people are buying physical, for 2 years. But for this last year where this data came out of, we've been in that. And so from I guess most of the data was taken from January to August period, but they talked about the holiday season. They're really about the only time that digital overtakes physical. And it's probably just because most stores are closed. You're stuck at home on Thanksgiving with nothing to do. And you're like, I don't want to play what I got. What's in the store, right? And the article also talks about the majority of digital games that are bought are past catalog games and not current. So I guess current games are quite a bigger margin of physical copies versus digital ones. I don't, and it links a few things. It says this may be, and this is, like I said, we're talking about PlayStation. We're not talking about anybody else really right now. And they link it to say maybe that a lot of it is because PlayStation 5 games are $70 now. So people want that physical thing for their value. And it's a lot harder to swallow a $70 digital charge versus and not having anything to show for it. And that $70 physical game gives you something that you can take back and trade in later, let your friends borrow, things like that. It has intrinsic value, whereas that $70 digital purchase that you made has no value, no intrinsic value outside of what you get from playing it. Because once you're done playing it, you can't send it back, you can't trade it in, you can't lend it. So, and from what I understand, this study includes like 49 countries, mostly centered around the Europe area. I don't know. I couldn't find any details if it was really in the US, if they pull a lot of data from the US, but basically they took publishing data from like Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Activision, a whole list of game publishers. So they take the publishing data, whether it's, did you guys buy physical? Did you buy digital? Which ones did you sell the most of? So, it was an interesting study. What do you guys think? Let's start with Nick. I know that you probably buy more games than any of us. How do you feel you fall in line with this? And what are your thoughts on this PlayStation getting mostly physical sales?
Is this all PlayStation 5 games or just PlayStation games overall?
It was PlayStation overall. It was not specifically linked to just PlayStation 5.
Gotcha. Okay. I prefer physical myself. I like having the physical case and the cover art and what used to be manuals. Now there's just nothing but blank space. But I still like the boxes. I like to have them, up on my shelf so I can see my collection and stuff. So I'm not surprised that physical is still. I guess I'm kind of half and half. I am kind of surprised that I'm not surprised that physical is still being purchased and being, the primary. I figure digital's probably got to be close to that physical sell range, because I feel like at some point digital is going to it's basically that's all they're going to be, right? Physical is eventually going to go away. It may not happen this generation, it may not happen next generation, but at some generation, physical is going to be out the door, right? Microsoft already tried to attempt it once in a sort of way with the Xbox One, and it didn't go over well, but it just needs a little bit more time to cook because that turkey's going to be done eventually, right? So, I'm not surprised. I would say for PlayStation, it's probably more of the older titles, like a lot of titles came out on PlayStation 4 that I think a lot of people probably overlooked, and are, now you can buy a lot of PlayStation 4 titles for really cheap. They're always on sale, or you can find them super cheap because they're just old now. And so now people can go back and just buy those copies from a store, because the problem with it too, especially for those older copies, is you're going to find a better sell for a physical game than you are digital, right? Unless Sony's running some sort of thing, Black Friday sale or how Christmas sale or Halloween sale or something like that. They do have a weekly sale, kind of like Microsoft does, but the game that you're looking for may not be on that list. And you could go up to GameStop or some retro store, or maybe even Best Buy, and find that game for like $20 or $30, right? Compared to the $60 that you're going to find it on the digital storefront. It still baffles me to this day why digital is the same price as physical. You would think digital copies, regardless, would be cheaper because there's no manufacturing costs of having to have it manufactured in a warehouse and shipped and all that stuff. So, excuse me. It doesn't surprise me that physical is still number one, but I think that's going to die out eventually. So, what do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. Physical for me, PlayStation is purely physical almost, because it's just, if we're not reviewing a PlayStation game, it's definitely physical. Because I trade my stuff in for my PlayStation. I mean, because PlayStation is my first party system. That's it. If it's third party, I'm playing it on the Xbox. So I don't need a bunch of games when I trade them in for my PlayStation, because I don't play that many PlayStation games. Only when they pop out their badass first party stuff. So I'm not surprised that physical sales are still up where they are. I am more surprised that what Nick said regarding the physical disc cost to the digital disc, digital version, excuse me. It's, you should be saving $20. And I'm honestly surprised Microsoft didn't try that with the Xbox when they were trying to push digital onlys, because if they would have done that, if they'd have said, all right, here's, Halo 5 or whatever at $49.99, digital, $69.99 or $59.99 on disc, that's almost a no-brainer. So, and I'm really surprised I haven't done that, especially with everybody pushing these $70 prices now. You can suck a butt. That's a BS price. That's a BS price point, and their excuses are BS. We all know that. It's all about price gouging. That's why digital isn't cheaper than disc. It's about pricing. That's it. It's about money, money, money. So it's a pretty shit system that we've got going on with the game developers, and that's all around. I like the ideal of discs just for the collectability of it, to be able to just grab my disc and hold it up. I like digital because, we game share. All of us have game sharing buddies. So, I get a birthday gift card. Nick gets a birthday gift card. It's just what we do. But man, there's something to say about that holding that disc in your hand. You unwrap it, or that little piece of plastic, and you get that one little piece that's stuck to it because of the static electricity. I love that stuff. But digital is easier for us. It's cheaper for us in the long run. So, it's weird that Sony, though, because Sony really touted the PS5 digital. So, and I think they sold more digitals than they did on the hard drives. Is that not true?
No, I think it was a 3-to-1. Like there's 3 times more disc versions that were made than the discless. Yeah. Because I think when they initially were selling them, it was only 25% of all the consoles created were the discless version, I think is what I read. Oh. And I was trying to find a current stat, but it seems like that's nowhere to be found, disc versus discless. But I mean, well, think about it. The whole time we were all trying to buy PlayStation 5s, the discless was like gone, like within seconds of it hitting the thing. And then the disc one would last like a couple of minutes. So, and from what I understood, the amount of discless versus disc was like insanely low. Like they would have like 1 or 2 discless and like 20 or 30 disc versions to sell. And from what I read, and part of this article basically says, at certain times of the year, it changes. So they took, for example, of December 2020, when the new consoles, right after the new consoles came out, it was a 5-to-1 ratio. 5 physical copies of a game were sold for every 4 digitals that were downloaded. And then they went back to like August of this year, 3 physical copies of a game were purchased for every 2 digital copies done. So that if you take it in more terms, that's a 6-to-4 ratio, closer to the 5-to-4. So it increases and fluctuates throughout the year. But like they said, during certain holidays, that number can shrink and go higher. And like I said, it's not a huge difference. We're talking like a 950,000 units compared to 840,000 units. It's not that huge of a difference. It's a 100,000 unit difference, but it's still a difference. And I'm with Shane and Nick. I try to buy. Sometimes I get lazy, and this isn't always what happens, but I try to buy physical for my PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. But sometimes I get a little lazy and forget to pre-order something that we're going to review. And I'm like, oh, crap, I better hop onto the Nintendo eShop or the PlayStation Store and get it downloaded real quick. Because sometimes I don't have foresight to buy some of that stuff ahead of time. But still, the majority of games on my PlayStation 5 are purchased. I probably have a 10-to-2 ratio, if you will, 10 purchased games for 2 downloaded games. It's pretty high. And that is probably because of like game share. PlayStation has game share, and I game share with my buddy Russ, but we don't. It's janky compared to Xboxes. Now, I have not bought an Xbox game in years because game share. So, yeah. So I'm with you guys on that one. If it's Xbox, it's digital all the way. I have not bought a physical one in a while.
Yeah, and one thing is when you buy, let's say the new Horizon comes out. Pat, you buy that on disc, you're paying $70. You beat it a week later, you can take it over to GameStop, sell it for $10, and
$5.
Then boom, you only paid $60 for that $70 game. So it's stupid. It's such a shit scam. Disc and digital, man, they both right now, they definitely have their pros and cons. Like you said, PlayStation has a game sharing setup, but it is such a pain in the ass compared to Xbox. It really is, but it works. And it is nice to do, like you said, it's got to review it. Crap, I forgot to pre-order it. Well, it's like a game that you just ordered, and it took 6 months to get or some crap. You finally got it, and we're going to be doing it here pretty soon. So and mine, GameStop completely screwed me over with some broken crap and then arguing with me about giving my money.
Well, see, that's what you have to deal with too. Think about that. Buying physical games has a risk associated with it. You can get a damaged game, like Shane's experienced recently with a game we're going to review. You got a completely bogus game. It was busted. Took it in. They said, yeah, it's busted. We don't have any more copies.
Yep. And not to mention disc with technology. I remember the 360 era really started this. 360 PS3. When you buy a disc of a movie, a game, music, whatever, most places will not take those back anymore because you can rip those so easily and copy them. Walmart wouldn't take squat back forever, and Walmart takes everything back. You can bring shit in with a Target receipt. Walmart would take it back, but not movies and games because people are ripping them. They'll let you get the same thing. So you buy a crap movie or a crap game, they'll let you get the same one, but you're not going to get your money back. So
right. Well, Walmart will do an exchange 1 for 1. They won't let you return it for cash or anything because, like you said, you can rip it off.
Yeah. I bought a PC game from them one time, and it supposed to have had the disc. It was a Command and Conquer. I got it home. There was no disc in it. I took it back up there. It was an on sale thing too. It was, one of their clearance items, and they wouldn't give me my money on it. They tried to tell me I was screwed. And I was like, bullshit, you're going to give me a $10 gift card or whatever it was I paid for it. So that's the problem with disc is you can get into issues, damage and they're sold out and all that kind of crap. Digital, boop, done. It's mine, but you don't get that feel, that shine when you hold the disc up, check for scratches. I don't like it. But I love digital as well because the ease of it and game share, things like that.
Cool. Yeah. Like I said, it's an interesting thing. And so we probably, if they are sampling the North American region for these studies, we probably contribute to that because we don't buy a lot of digital editions of PlayStation stuff. So we're probably in that boat. And I could try to say the same thing for Switch. I don't buy a whole lot of digital editions of anything on Switch,
Except for when you're forced to when GameStop screws you.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
put that out there.
For the most part, like I said, I would probably say my Switch digital to physical is closer in numbers. Like I'm probably a split half and half, whereas PlayStation's not the other one. But that's just because I forget to pre-order my crap on Switch. When I want to play it and I'm like, crap, I forgot to pre-order it and it's sold out everywhere. So
this is my second digital game I bought for the Switch. Just because the little hard drive in those things are crap. I mean, it's 32 meg, I think it is, or whatever the hell it is. I can't remember. It's such a tiny amount. I'm afraid I'm just going to have to, delete crap all the time. Kind of like the new consoles are with the little 1 terabytes.
Yeah. And I don't know have you bought anything digital on the Switch besides like retro stuff?
Yeah, I bought Cruise and Blast digitally on there. And that's because I didn't know they had a physical version of it.
Well, and now there's that, isn't there like, who is doing that? Is it PlayStation that's doing I can't remember who's doing the little physical short games that are coming out. I can't remember who's doing that they're all going to be physical.
Watches or?
No, there's actually a little indie developer game push right now that we're pushing out just a bunch of little physical games and they're physical copies only. They
like limited
digital.
run or something?
Yeah. So that might help some stuff.
I don't necessarily buy a limited run. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, because they take digital only games and make physical copies out of them. But I don't think I've ever bought a digital run or limited run game.
Cool. Yep. So anybody else got anything else they want to say about physical versus digital? I mean, we're pretty much a split depending on which console we're on. We're all the same though, I think, really. So, I would think that means that we kind of bode for the majority of the way people shop as well. I don't think we're any different that much in how a normal gamer works.
Probably.
Right. And I understand for the holidays because, you want to have something to wrap and put under the Christmas tree. You don't want to just give them a gift card and say, go buy a game.
Hey, I'm good with cash.
Well, yeah. But
you're
some
also
people
an adult.
Your aunt or whatever wants you to be surprised when you unwrap that Call of Duty under the tree or whatever.
Ooh, another Call of Duty. You got me one last year, Auntie.
But what they didn't realize was they got you last year's version this year for Christmas because Grandma doesn't remember.
You're always a year behind.
With it's Vanguard, or she just saw, this Call of Duty is $10 versus that $70.
Allied Assault, he'll love it.
Right? What Medal of Honor, Allied Assault?
Yeah, that was Medal of Honor, but Allied Assault's a great game, so he will love it, or he should, because that's a fantastic game.
Unfortunately, you don't have anything to play it on, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he gets a Call of Duty. What is it? 3 or was it 3 World at War or not World at War? But what was the other one that was crappy? That Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty 3. Yeah, that's what Grandma gets him.
Yeah, Super old stuff. All right. Well, nobody else got anything else for this one? We're pretty much like I said, split depending on where we're at. If we're anything but Xbox, it sounds like we're almost all physical, and Xbox is almost all digital. I don't know if anybody owns an Xbox. Before we go, Nick, Shane, do you guys actually bought an Xbox Series X game physical or Series game physical? Some ones. Shane,
I think I have one Xbox One game, maybe 2, but I'm honestly surprised if I haven't sold those.
Right. I have none of them. So you sold them to GameStop for $5 for the box of them, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one. Don't forget, make sure you like and subscribe and leave us some comments. Let us know how you split. Do you buy mostly physical, mostly digital? Let us know, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.